In the next video tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how you can use PowerShell to simulate a crawler that would navigate to a site and simulate traffic as if many users were accessing the website and clicking on various links. So for my example here, I'm going to be crawling my personal blog at nickcharlebois.com. If we take a look at my PowerShell script here, the first thing I'm going to do is prompt for the credentials, right? Because I want to make sure that the person is authenticated. They might be behind a corporate proxy, corporate firewall, whatever, so you want to make sure that they're authenticated. I'm going to get the URL of the site I want to crawl, so that this is going to be the main site. Then it's going to look on that site, find links, open those links, get the content from the second level pages, read for links, get access to the third level links, and so on. I'm going to specify how many links total, like a maximum number of links I want to have my PowerShell script access. Otherwise, you can let it run all day if you want, but I'm not sure your network guys are going to love you. The third thing is you're going to specify the maximum level of I guess, the hierarchical levels you want your script to go through. So for example, if we start on nickcharlebois.com, it's going to access my personal blog. It's going to find for links. Let's say it finds a link to my, I don't know, the SP Posh project. So that's a Codeplex project. It's going to open a Codeplex page. So Codeplex is going to be the second level. Then it's going to read through all the links on the Codeplex page. It's going to access, let's say, I don't know, a link to any other Codeplex project out there. Open that page. That's going to be the third level, and you don't want it to just go deep and deeper and deeper, right? Because otherwise you're losing the focus, the initial focus, which was to crawl your root site here. So we want to limit the maximum level. So I'm going to set, just for the purpose of this exercise here, I'm going to set it to 2, and then a global variable called number of links. This is going to be the counter. We're going to make sure that this number here never goes above the limit we specified, so 200. It might be less than this. Like in my example here, I know whenever I crawl for 2 levels, I'm only ever going to get about 45 links. If I specify 3 of them, I'm going to hit the 200 limit soon enough. I'm going to be declaring a new array called link visited. So this link visited variable is going to contain a list of all the websites that have been, all the pages that have been visited already. So you don't end up having the same page pinged like 20 times and then another one pinged 55. So when you hit your limit here, you only really ever accessed 5 pages on your site. I'm going to declare a function called crawl site. So this function is going to take in the URL that you want to crawl, and as well the current level that you're crawling, right? So we want to make sure that this here never goes above the max level variable we're setting there. Then in here, what we're going to do is we're going to call the PowerShell commandlet called invoke web request. This is really just doing a web request over the wire, getting the content back from the pages located at that URL here. And then we're going to be taking the content variable, the content property of that request here, and manipulate the HTML content received. So you see in here, I'm passing the credential parameter, my credentials I got here, to my invoke request commandlet. As I said, I'm getting the content there. Then here, the domain. So what we're going to do is we're going to cheat a bit. I mean, there's a lot of string manipulation there. I know it's not optimized. Like, I don't want to get comments from people just saying my script sucks because it's not optimized. I know it's not optimized. I know there's definitely better ways of doing it. That one works for me, so I don't care. So in here, the domain, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the URL that the user passed that function. I'm going to replace the HTTP, the HTTPS. So I'm just going to keep the domain portion of it. I'm going to split to the first slash, and then I'm going to take the first portion. So what this does, if we take a look at this here, the first thing it's going to do is replace this here or this. So it's going to go in, remove this. Then it's going to go find, it's going to split the string here into an array based on slashes. I don't have any slashes, so it's just going to return one cell, and this is what I'm accessing here. So it's going to be www.nickcharlebois.com. Reason why I'm splitting on slashes here is because sometimes people would just end up their URL with this, or I can even go nickcharlebois/nick, but really the domain name, I don't care about this portion here. All I want is this. Yeah, so back to business. I'm declaring two variables, so start and end, having an integer value of 0. The start value then, after this, what I'm doing is I'm getting the content variable, so the HTML content of my page. I'm getting the index of, so the index is just a numerical position of where that pattern of string is first found in the string. So I'm going to be looking for anchor tags. This is normally what you would see for links. So, for example, if my HTML content is P A, for example, so this method here, the index of A, is going to return position 1, 2, 3. So the beginning of this pattern here. So that's going to be position 3. Then what I'm saying is start at end. So the end is 0 here. So, I mean, in this case here, I could just remove this. It's always going to start at 0. So there you see, I've optimized my script already. Now I'm going to have a while loop that's going to go loop until this start here is greater than 0. So what we're going to do is, let's say we have something like this here again, ahref, blah, blah, then a second link, or a div, then an ahref, whatever. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to start this here, I'm going to get start equals to 3. Then the next thing we're going to go is we're going to move it forward a bit. So after the start, I'm going to find for, if I look at here, href equals. So it's going to bring my cursor here. I'm adding 6. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm getting inside the link here. Then let's say my link was ABC. I'm going to get this value here. Then you got to remember what we have here. Now the variable start is going to be set here before the A. The variable end is going to be set here. So what we're going to do after this is we're going to start from where my cursor is. So that's why I had the end there before, right? So I want to make sure that I only start after the last end. Otherwise, I'm always going to loop and get the same link. And then I'm going to go do a start again. So it's going to find this here. Then my end. So my start is going to be here. My end is going to be there. I know I'm getting really confusing, but you guys just need to understand how basic string manipulation works. Otherwise, you're going to get lost in my script. If you don't care about understanding my script, that's fine. It works fine. You can just go in, get a copy of it from my blog. Just make sure you replace these parameters here with yours. So if we dig a bit deeper in my logic, so I'm adding 6. If the start is greater than 6, then I'm just doing making sure that, okay, so in here I'm making sure sometimes you'll have href that will have the link in between single quote or double quote, so I'm just making sure I account for both here. Then in here, if the end is greater or equal than start, so okay, so we want to make sure, otherwise if you have something that's where the start is, again, let's take this example here. My start is here, where my cursor is, in between the P and the A, and my end is here. Well, what I want to do is a substring of start all the way up to the end, moving right. So this is going to cause an error because my end's less than my start. So I want to make sure I don't get into any error here. I'm going to get a substring of beginning at the start. So for example, if ABC, my start's here, my end is here. So the substring method saying get a substring of this whole string here, starting at this position where my cursor is, and ending, or actually, and counting so many positions. So end currently is here, start is here, so we can see that it's 1, 2, 3. So end minus start is 3, then it's going to go and select 3 characters starting from my start. So it's going to get my link. We're just going to skip over this logic here. It's just making sure that if ever the link is relative, so my URL instead of being ABC would be like /Nick, meaning that really what I want is http nickcharlebois.com/Nick. I'm just going to add the domain that we captured at the beginning, so to make it an absolute link. Remove this here, then I mean these two could be combined here just for clarity's sake. So I'm saying if the current number of links, so the total number of links I've visited, is less or equal than the total allowed maximum number of links, and the level, the current level, so if I'm at level 4 and the max level was 3, I'm just going to skip over this one here. And then we want to make sure that the array that contains all the links, all the pages we've already visited, doesn't contain the current link. Otherwise, it means it was already visited. And we also want to make sure that the link starts with HTTP. This here I can get rid of just because I have a try catch block, but it's just good practice that you don't just rely on catching the exception. If, for example, you'll see cases where it's just an anchor, right? So the link will be actually I should have done this here. So for example, your link is going to be href pound ID2, for example. Well, if you do invoke request on this, it's going to cause an error. As well, you'll see a bunch of places where you'll have JavaScript semicolon and then on click or whatever, right? So you need to make sure as well that you don't pass this to the invoke web request, otherwise you're going to get an error. So this is kind of safe proof mechanism, but really the catch block is going to catch any exceptions. So in there, I make sure I increase the number of links. Otherwise, I'm never going to meet this criteria here, and I'm just going to be looping forever. On the screen, what I'm going to be printing is the current number of links. So for example, starting from 1 all the way up to 200, the level of each link. So how deep it is in the hierarchy, and then the URL of the link. And I'm going to put a blue background with white text. I'm going to be adding the current link to the full array containing all the pages I've already visited to make sure that it's not visited again. And then I'm going to call the same method I'm in currently. I'm going to call it in a recursive fashion, passing the current link I found and then just increasing the level, meaning that it's one level deeper in the hierarchy. And then I'm just going to get the next link, and it's going to get validated to make sure that there are still more links on the page with the while loop condition. Otherwise, it's just going to skip over. And then I need to make sure I call my method. So crawl link, the URL of my personal blog, and then start, I guess, the level deep. I'm starting with 0. So really, I'm cheating here, right? I'm saying 2 levels, but I'm starting at 0. So yeah, anyway, you understand what I mean. So it's going to get really 3 levels. So save my script, go in here, I'm gonna call it, how is it called? Spider. And boom, it's gonna prompt for my credentials. I put them in, and there we go. So first link it found on my page was this here, so the authentication link on Office 365, because my blog is hosted on Office 365. It's going in, getting a bunch of Office related links, obviously. So now we're at level 2. Right, we shouldn't go past this. Eventually, I think what should happen is we'll go back to level 1 because it couldn't find more links that were that deep. Going back to level 1, getting the next link, then it's looping level 2, level 2, level 1, 2, and it should stop at around, I think I said about 45 links. Yeah, 45. So really, it didn't go more than 2 or 3 levels deep, depending on how you see it. If I just go and change this here, and then I'm just going to put make it fast, 30 links top with 3 levels. Start again and let it run a bit. So we should see some trees in there. There you go, right? So we're getting way off from the original goal that was to crawl my personal blog, but still. So 20 links, we said 30, so there's 10 left. But you see that we're getting extremely far from our goal here. I mean, most of the links I'm crawling are going to be like at level 3. Then I'm going back to level 1 here. So why did I get 31 link? That's a good one. Probably have less or equal somewhere. And there we go. And this should be less than. So hopefully you guys learned a bit today about how you can use PowerShell to generate traffic or simulate traffic on a website. Until next time.